20-second delay. That'd be awkward if it was a 20-minute delay.
And this is going to be recorded as well.
Push record on the bottom.
It's auto recorded, right?
It records to
No, you
YouTube.
have to record.
Okay, link coming at you in Zoom.
And
there you go.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice. Okay.
And I think once we get going, we should probably mute who's not speaking.
Okay.
Just so we don't get weirdness.
So did we say it was being recorded?
Since it's live, it'll automatically be on my YouTube feed. So when we put it in archive, that YouTube link will just get put in the Wakelet. Someone can watch it.
Oh, we got 1 more minute.
Hey, Bryn, were you not at the first live one? Oh.
I'm not sure where I was.
Oh, look, a picture comes up. That's really nice.
So I would just retweet that link, and I'll just keep retweeting that every.
So often.
Yeah.
So cool.
I like it. Oh, learning live. So experiential. Love it.
We have 3 people watching. It's probably all of us.
No.
Oh,
I only have a short attention span. Woo. I like watching the tweets. We're watching the tweets live. Got questions in front of
I'm
us.
supposed to go clap. Oh, I'm supposed to go clap outside. I'll be back. I'm going to be clapping. 7 o'clock.
Okay. Okay.
Right. Go clap.
7 o'clock.
We should all
7
just
o'clock.
go clap.
Whoop, whoop. Okay, it's 7 o'clock. We're clapping for our healthcare workers. Welcome to BC Ed Chat and BC Ed Chat Co-Mod's gone live. Bryn will be back. He's out there clanging some pots for his community, which is awesome. And here we are, all 10 mods are present for this live event to welcome you back into the new school year, this crazy, uncertain, but exciting school year. And so we just want to make sure that if you are watching us live, please go to Twitter and check where our links are to watch us live on YouTube. And also we'll also be tweeting live in the meantime. And we have questions for you and questions for us that we hope to address as we move forward. I'm just gonna, does anyone want to chime in on anything, or am I just resuming? Resuming, okay, so we have a few, when we were going through our planning process for coming back, we really wanted to hear from you, our BC Ed Chat PLN, to give us feedback on where you want this year's BC Ed Chat to go. And so we thought that we would have a live broadcast to sort of, for us to get to know us as moderators, the new group of 10. And then also we want to sort of emphasize that we're all about professional learning. Our group is not about politics or playing politics. Our group is to support you as a community of learners out in the field. And so what we hope for with a series of questions that come up is that you can give us some feedback on giving us direction how to design the upcoming year for BC Ed Chat. So I know question 1's coming up, and just so you're aware, the questions that have been pre-programmed onto Twitter. So sometimes our questions won't be 100% aligned to the live event, but certainly play along on Twitter or just listen to us and you can talk to us. We won't talk back to you, but we'll talk back to each other in terms of our chat for tonight. So we can go around our group of 10. I'll start, and then I'll just sort of, what the plan is, I'll tap on someone's shoulder, then they'll introduce themselves, and then that person taps on someone else's shoulder. So first of all, I'm Christine Ho Younghusband. I'm a assistant professor at the University of Northern British Columbia, formerly math teacher, but now teacher educator. And I come to you on the traditional territory of the Sechelt Nation, but also teach and learn and live in the unceded territory of the Lheidli T'enneh. So I will pass the next baton to Victoria.
I have to get that unmute button going. Hi, I'm Victoria. I am a grade 7 teacher in Langley School District, and I'm coming at you from the Katzie, Kwantlen, Matsqui, and Semiahmoo First Nations. So we have quite a divergence of different nations that come from this unceded territory. And we are, I don't know, just kind of a weird beginning of the year, obviously. I kind of want to add on to what Christine said before. Obviously, we are in a very politically charged climate right now. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of change, but BC Ed Chat is really here to support you as with the actual pedagogy, with the practice, with the focus on what our learners need and our families need and what you need through this time. So that's part of my personal goal with this early part of the year. And yeah, I think that's all I've got. Let's go to Tracy.
Unmute. Hey, I'm Tracy Kramer. I'm coming to you from the Okanagan and on the unceded territory of the Selix people. I am a kindergarten grade 1 teacher, have been for a while. Original home was in Langley. I miss it terribly. But this year I'm also a kindergarten specialist with Queen's University. Let's go down below me directly is Ian Landy.
Hi, my name's Ian Landy at Technolandy on Twitter. I am principal in Powell River on the traditional territory of the Claumen. Looking forward, surprisingly, to the school year because we've had a lot of neat plans come together in terms of some of our outdoor learning before the COVID plan came to be. So hopefully we'll be able to make good use of our new gardens that were installed and our bike park and a few other reasons to get outdoors and outside. And I do love the BC Ed Chat because of our focus on the professional side of it rather than the political side, because we got enough of that on some other chats and some other fun spots. I'm going to toss it over to Kenneth.
Hi, everybody. Kenneth Headley here, coming from Surrey tonight on the unceded territory of the Kwantlen, Semiahmoo, Matsqui, and Katzie peoples as well. Love what I do, but super excited to watch how this discussion tonight will help shape what BC Ed Chat looks like for the upcoming year. So hope to hear from everybody tonight. Thank you for being here. Oh, and I will pass it on to Janet.
Hi, everyone. My name's Janet, and I am in Vancouver in the unceded territory of the Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh Nation. And I'm so thrilled to be here and with all my partners in crime tonight, and very, very excited for this year to have conversations of educational value and also to be learning alongside with you. So thanks very much for joining us. And I'm passing it on to Bryn.
Thanks, Janet. So I'm Bryn, and I appreciate that. And I'm really slow on sort of moving things between the Twitter and the Zoom because, you know, I'm old. But that's okay. I'm learning with you guys. So, and I'm coming to you right now from Vancouver, to the unceded territories of the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and the Musqueam. And I'm very happy to be here tonight. I'm very looking forward to seeing how we can move forward with the BC Ed Chat around supporting. And it really comes back to supporting the teachers, the educators in our province, and moving that conversation forward. I know we talked about the politics side of it as not being part of it, and it is not. That is not what we're here for. We're here to help the educators in our system, to help the students, because for me, it's that we all love our kids and we want them to be successful, and we learn from each other. And for the last 7 years, I've been learning with Victoria and the rest of the crew, and it's just been wonderful about the sharing that we can do. So now I'm going to turn it over to Kyoko.
Hello, I'm Kyoko. I am living and learning and working on the traditional unceded territory of the Sinixt. I am a kindergarten grade 1 teacher with SD 10 Arrow Leaks, and passionate about outdoor ed and play-based learning, and just loving this forum as a place to problem solve and work together to find the best way forward through whatever situations that we are faced with as educators. It's been really great. And of course, last but not least is, oh no, there's 2. Next up, we have Dallas.
Unmute Dallas, please. I can't hear you.
What? I need to unmute. I'm used to so many Zoom meetings. I just automatically mute and just ignore. Hi, I'm Dallas, coming to you from South Vancouver on the traditional and unceded territories of the Tsleil-Waututh, the Stolo First Nations, and the Musqueam First Nations, along with other coastal Salish peoples. And I get the pleasure of working on the traditional and unceded territories of the Kakite First Nations in New Westminster. Grade 8 middle school teacher. I don't know. New role as a vice president or one of the vice presidents in our local union. It's all changing. I'm worried about this year. Too much going on. Anyways, there we go. Now I really wasn't paying attention. Who hasn't spoken? You guys, you got to help me out here. Ian, Tracy, no, Christine. See, Tracy, you're pointing to people and we're all in different orders. Craig has for really, you're all pointing down into the corner. We're all pointing to Bryn. Bryn, you were pointing off the screen.
And we all realize that we all are in different spots on our screen. So I think this is real learning live at its finest.
Okay, last but not least for this one, Craig, you're up.
I was actually hoping you would forget about me and I would just sit here and just lurk and then fire barbs at all 9 of you for forgetting about me.
No
do
such thing.
that.
I'm
That's
just
okay.
honest.
You know what? It's just my life. Just forget him. He's actually, he's forgettable. My name's Craig Maw. I'm a district principal in SD 43 Coquitlam, and I'm live and work in the unceded territory of the Coquitlam peoples. And I've been part of this group for 6 years. I was brought in on what I think we call it the second wave. And I can say that in the 6 years, BC Ed Chat has been the best professional development for me in terms of learning, networking, but also growing with this group of individuals as moderators, always inspired by them. Who knows what's going to happen next? Who knows? But we do know that it is for certain unpredictable, and it's crazy. And I'm hoping that we can all work together to kind of get through this together. I do appreciate the comments that our focus is on the pedagogical piece of helping teachers support kids through this, because there's enough of everything else out there. So I'm so happy to see everybody out here, and I'm going to be quiet now. Thanks, Christine. I'm going to throw it back to you.
Thanks. So we've done part of Q1, and I'm sorry if you may have seen my eyes dancing all over the place because I'm like, where's Q1? Where's Q1? And I realized I did not put the hashtag. So do not forget to put the BC Ed Chat hashtag onto your tweets so we can see what you're doing, and then we can collect that information. So Q1 is out, and we have made our introductions, and our Twitter handles are in our Zoom account. So hopefully you can see that as well. And we'd also talked about our roles, but 2020 is going to be an extraordinary year. And in Q1, how would you describe your 2020 year so far in one word? And what do you hope for? We're going to play the same game. I'm going to go with Jan.
Sorry, I wasn't even listening to the question.
Wow.
Terrible.
Let me model for you. I'm going to pick.
You model.
I'm getting the paper and pen so I can write down who's done what. Do my kicks.
That's right. See,
I'm trying to read the tweet.
We're sharing tips. So basically, pick one word how you described your year so far, and what do you hope for? So mine will be reflexivity, and what I hope for is that we will all be able to adapt to what's given to us from moment to moment, because we are learning that it's changing rapidly, and how we can be adaptive to make the best learning environments for our students. So it's and we are going to try our best that we can. So that's my stretch. So there you go, Jan.
Okay, here's mine. Right off the top of my head, it's going to be flexibility. That'll be my key word for this entire year, or ebb and flow. And that's not one word, that's 3 words. But one of the things I do hope for is that we connect with each other, and that we support each other. We find people that support us throughout all of this, because we are in this together, and each and every one of us has a gift, and that particular gift is to be shared. So flipping over to Kenny.
Hey everybody, I think my word this year, grace. there's so much stuff going on, and we're asking everybody to jump into uncharted waters, new platforms, and we're all going to make mistakes as we go through this chaotic time. So for me, in working with my staff and working with these great people on BC Ed Chat, and people across British Columbia and even North America, I think every educator in the world right now is just having a little bit of grace for everybody as we go through this, and our families, and giving our families a little bit of grace too, because this pandemic is obviously making everybody a little uncomfortable. And so if we can smile and let everybody know that it's a safe space, and we're all learning and we're all in this together, I think it'll be a good place to be. So that's my one word, grace. And I will pass on to Ian.
Well, I'm maintaining my one word that I started back in January, which was all about dignity. Large focus was for dignity of graduates and for the students coming through, but I'm also shifting it now to the mindset of being a good listener, hopefully an engaged listener, and treating with dignity both the people who are very excited to come to school, but also the ones who are very anxious and nervous about coming to school, and giving them dignity for their worries and their concerns as we move forward into this little bit of a great unknown. And I'll toss it over to Kyoko.
Sorry, I lost the button. My word would have to be, I think, surprising for 2020. Just constant surprising. Now my dog's barking in the background, which is a surprise. And I would have to say that something going into 2020 is I just want to be very mindful of trauma from the year, being mindful to slow down and to meet the kids where they're at and give them what they need, and just grow their love of learning at their pace for what this year brings, and just being prepared for that. Yeah. I'm bad at this. Okay, growth mindset. I'd like to pass it to Victoria.
Okay, so through the beginning of 2020, I was actually starting to catch my stride. So I was a new mom coming back to a new school in a new grade that I hadn't taught before, and that whole thing, like trying to balance all those roles and come back in late 2019 to teaching after being off for so long, was just like, it knocked me off my feet. Like I had the hardest beginning of the year, and I think my head was kind of coming out of the clouds in February. And then we all know what happened next. So I'm going to say that my one word is unstructured, because I think this whole time, this whole year, this past year, like I was searching for trying to find that structure, trying to find that consistency, that pattern of knowing what's gonna happen. And obviously that was really, really not a tangible thing through the spring, especially as we went to remote instruction and then into the whatever June was. We'll just call that whatever June was. But yeah, I think kind of moving into the new year, I'm looking to just kind of be the calm in the storm. And I think my word coming into this new school year is just consistency, trying to be a consistent person to lean on, a consistent body in the room, somebody who can be relied upon by families and by students alike, just so that they find that sort of consistency inside of this weird structure that school is going to be this year. So yeah, it's me. And I'm going to pass it to Tracy.
Wow, so there's so many words to choose from. Some appropriate, some are not as appropriate. But I think I'm going to go with community, because there's so many foundations that can go with community. Loving our community, building our community, taking care of our community, growing with our community, realizing what our community is built out of. And I'm starting in a new community, in a new school again this year. So my appropriate word for this evening would be community. And I'm passing it. See, I'm learning, Chris. I can do this. Dallas, have you done your one word? Dallas.
Thanks. Okay, one word this year, I've already tweeted it out, but it's going to be acceptance. With everything going on in the world with regards to Black Lives Matter, with regards to all of the racism that's been built in and around COVID as well, all of the changes, I'm going to accept whatever comes my way. And I might challenge it along the way, but I'm going to accept and
do what I can to make it bearable for me and to those around me, and just keep moving on. So change what I can, but make sure that we're accepting of everyone and everything, and recognizing that every single one of us on this mod team, through BC Ed Chat, in our communities and surrounding, we all need to be accepting of everyone else around us. And we need to show that acceptance and show the care and attention that everyone needs. All about acceptance this year. And again, I said I was writing it down. I wasn't. Hands up if you haven't talked yet, anyone. I'm horrible at this, people. Tracy, you're Craig again?
Fringes.
Okay, I'm gonna go Bryn. Go Bryn.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Dallas. So, you know, my one word, I have got kind of two one words. So my first one word is about empathy. So I think it's really important, especially my role as an administrator in a building. It's a small school, but it's empathy about where our kids and our families and our staff members are coming from. And the idea that this year, they've all got on different spectrums of where they're at for comfort, for safety, for their own well-being, and for their own families. So I think empathy for me is really important as a one word. But at the same time, I had one word that started the year that sort of, I don't know if you know, but the year sort of changed a little bit as we went over time, and I think Mark sort of threw a wrench and everything. But I had a one word, and it started off as equity, but it sort of turned into justice. And I think I was really looking at the ideas around our Indigenous friends, family members, our Indigenous community people, and that the idea that we were going to actually give an opportunity to make them thrive. And that was where I was at. And now that's changed to really all our community, all our friends, our family members who deserve to have the right to be free, to have an opportunity to learn with us, and to be given those opportunities to thrive up above. So I think my two words would be empathy, because I think that's really important. And then it's sort of an equity / justice. And so that's sort of where I'm at the moment. And it's a really tough piece for me to be working through this. But I think that's where I'm at. And I'm going to throw that now to Craig. Just cut.
Okay, I think I'm last again. And I think there's a pattern. Thanks, Victoria, for acknowledging that. It's like you're a kid and you don't get the birthday invitation where everybody else gets to, and that's just me right now.
It's just because we put you last because we know that you're the strong finish.
No,
and then you can wrap up and summarize everything that we do so well.
The weakest link is right here, right? The weakest link.
This is how Craig gets treated all the time. This is how I get treated,
exactly. Yeah. And I'm wearing my Canucks jersey tonight, just in hopes. Okay, my one word, I'm going to go with acceleration, and for multiple reasons. First of all, for me, a change in roles for me back on February, going into a district position, learning curve right there, and then coming into a worldwide pandemic, and then supporting the district, not from the perspective of working in a classroom or working with a school community, but in an area where I'm working with multiple schools, supporting multiple administrators, which in turn are supporting their teachers, which support their kids. So massive learning curve. And, the one thing and I saw this going on in Twitter, and I think it was Mr. Stephen Price who put that out there, just an acknowledgement of all the work going on behind the scenes right now or in the previous weeks. So with all the counselors and staff coming in, administrators and district office staff trying to make sense of what September is going to look like. And I can see now that I'm kind of in that arena, it's just the amount of work it's taking, how fast it comes at us, how fast we try to get it out to people. So my word is acceleration, and because everything is just moving so fast. And I think the trick for us is to move quickly, but to do it with that sense of dignity, of fairness, of taking care of our people out there. I think that is paramount. And when we say that we're all in it together, we really have to be in it all together. And work together. So I'm so happy again that we are all together on this platform sharing this hour together. So that's me.
Awesome. So what we're going to do, because classic time, we're going to smush Q2 and Q3 together. Yeah, we are. And so basically, Mod Team, what's your favorite thing about BC Ed Chat? And how can BC Ed Chat support you in your professional learning in the upcoming year? And or how will your pedagogy shift or pivot during this school year? And I'm going to go starting with Craig. Yeah, I did. Craig's first.
Okay, that's right. Okay. And my self-esteem has just gone like this now, right? Because you guys, the 9 of you were beating me down, and now it's climbed back up. So thank you for that.
Only for you, Craig.
Thank you. What was the question again? I was just so caught up in the euphoria of being picked first.
It's a loaded question. It's as big as your confidence.
It's what's your favorite thank you? And this is my child.
Hi.
Okay. Hello. What's your favorite part of BC Ed Chat, which I think you did answer early in your introduction? Yeah. How can BC Ed Chat support you in your professional learning? And or how will your pedagogy or practice pivot during the school year?
Okay, so I have kind of touched base on the professional development part of BC Ed Chat, but that the growing and the learning and the risk taking, especially not being in a school working directly with teachers and kids. I mean, BC Ed Chat to me professionally is going to become more important because it's a chance to be more in your expressive professionalism in terms of supporting people, but also that receptive piece of listening to ideas that are out there. The part that I really like about BC Ed Chat is that the chance for us to be innovative and to do like really off topic, like really crazy topics. And like, I know Victoria and I last April, we did a pet chat where we had our pets moderate. We've done this video chat is huge. Back in January, we did a live event where we brought people together face to face, on the backs of the Core Competency Ed Camp that Janice and Carrie organized. So I like that part, and I'm looking forward to continuing in that innovative piece of bringing people together and that we're learning together. And we know that there's not going to be a live event this year, likely. So that's me. And thanks for letting me go first. Thank you very much. Now, do I get to pick now? See, that's something. Now I get to pick because you guys weren't letting me pick before. That's nice. Okay, Tracy Kramer, I would like you to go next, please.
Great. Can you repeat the question, please? No? Okay.
How can BC Ed Chat support your professional learning this year, and what's your favorite thing about it?
I could almost answer that one for you, Tracy, but I won't.
You know what? My absolute favorite part about BC Ed Chat is the people that I get to collaborate with, talk with, vent with, share with. And my absolute favorite part about BC Ed Chat is starting my week on a Sunday night, knowing that whatever Monday throws at me, I can handle. I've got it. BC Ed Chat is just the ending, a beautiful ending to the end of the week. Pivoting is going to be huge this year. I'm not sure how. Just having the support and knowing that there's other like-minded and people that push me and push my thinking is, I think, knowing that there's a safe place to land within the province, and it's not just somebody within your bricks and mortar. You can go further than just the people in your building and in your district, and knowing that we have that available to us. I don't know what this year is going to bring. I think there's going to be a lot of dancing. There's going to be a lot of tears, a lot of joy, and it's really what we make out of it. And that's, I think, but I'm excited to be here and to share what I have with everybody in the province, and to learn from so many different people. And I know I'm going to need you at different times, and everybody seems to be available. If you put something out, there's somebody there right away to respond, and I love that. I'm going to head next door to Janet.
Okay, I think that my role in the Burnaby School District is Program Consultant of Learning Technologies. So ever since we went on to this little journey of ours, there have been some significant changes and adjustments that our staffs have had to deal with. And I support every single school in our district, and also every teacher, every administrator, every QP staff, and everybody else in all of our district staff. So there's a whole lot of them. One of the most important things that I think that BC Ed Chat does for me is allow me to, one, gather the support I need from all of my team members, my moderators, co-moderators, and also to be able to gather ideas of what are the thoughts and feelings of what other districts are doing, what are they engaged in, how can we move innovation in a different way, but also support everybody where they are. And one of the things I do want to always say to everybody as they're part of their learning journey is don't ever judge yourself based on your journey of beginning against somebody else's journey of advanced already. And just, you know, the best that you can do wherever you happen to be is really the best place for you to be at. And we support all of those things. So this for me is a really grand place to hang out at. I'm going to flip over to, and I'm not going to point like some people because everybody's all in a mixed up crew thing. So Ian. Hi, Ian.
Hello. I know one of the things I really value about BC Ed Chat is a little bit of the opposite of Tracy. I don't look at it at the end of the week. I see this very much as a way to start off my week. And I really appreciate the, again, the positivity and the freedom to sometimes do a little venting, but always take something away each week that always gets me set up and ready for that predictable sleepless Sunday night before getting ready for the rest of the week. I remember the first time that I got the email asking if I'd be interested in being a moderator. I was thrilled, I was honored. And I think that's one of the big things I keep taking away from this group of mods and even this chat. It is a very well respected place for education. I know that if I've got questions, I can come to this hashtag and throw in a question and often get good answers, not just a funny GIF, although sometimes those are very appropriate as well. And we get to have a little bit of fun. And if we get some fun and knowledge, that's the entertainment I'm here for. So I'm gonna throw it over to Dallas.
Sorry, split screens. Had to pull up this screen first. Thanks again. I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be a hard year. That I'm looking forward to the challenge of the year and what it's going to bring. But I know that these 9 other people that are surrounding me in whichever order they are, I know that no matter what level they're involved in education, that they are respectful of one another, that they are a great listening ear, they are a great group to vent to, like a couple of people have already said, but they're also a great bouncing wall and the sound wall. So I can't tell you how many times in the past 6 months we've all been bouncing off ideas off of one another, sharing and comparing what each district's doing, just so we can kind of get a heads up on different ideas that we might not have thought of, because we don't know everything as educators. We learn from each other. So I think that's the biggest thing. Yeah, it's the learning, it's the community, it's being one and being in a group of like-minded people, that I'm willing to challenge them, but they're also willing to challenge me. Yeah, that's all it is. It's all about learning from each other. That's what I love about BC Ed Chat so much. And sorry, Christine, I'm not answering the rest of your question. It was just too long. I'd be here all night rambling.
I said and or. Please feel free.
What I am going to do is I'm going to throw it off because I don't think this person's talked yet. I haven't typed their name out yet. I might have missed it, but I'm going to throw it to Victoria, who brought me into BC Ed Chat.
Hi. Okay. I first of all need to remember the question also, because it's so, just for everybody watching, it is so hard because we're kind of like listening to the conversation and hearing the answers and trying to be like, I'm not going to replicate that, but then simultaneously reading our tweets and like trying to manage that. And while that's going on, I'm also being cognizant of the point of this chat tonight is to get your feedback and to help guide us with our planning through the year. So I've started to take your tweets and I'm copying and pasting them into our planning doc, and there's just a lot happening. So for me, I think the question, if I recall, because I actually repeated it to Tracy, so I should remember it, but I don't. So I'm going to scroll up just to where the question is.
It's favorite part, pivoting, and
okay, yeah,
and professional learning support.
Yes, right. So I think bar none, I answered this as well on Twitter. Community is the #1 favorite thing here, and I think we have tried to, just as one of the co-founders, we made a really valiant effort to really try to make people feel like they were a part of the community. First of all, by always providing personalized greetings to you. So if you come into BCI chat and we didn't say hi to you, like that's on us. Like we really try to scoop everybody up and make sure that they get that reply and that we engage you in conversation, that you're not just left hanging and you're by yourself. Now, like obviously through the chat, as you kind of get used to it, you learn that you get there and you don't talk to everybody that's there. You kind of end up in these little side convos. But I like those side convos because they're rich and you make these connections with people that you may not have necessarily been connected with before, right? Like even in our BCI chat mod group, we have such unique perspectives coming from all different walks of education. And what I really love is that we can all sit here from these different walks, despite the political environment, and mutually respect each other as professionals. And that's really important to make progress in a field like education, where it is very politically charged. The other thing that just for this year, as we kind of move forward, I really want to just be a little bit more present with BCI chat. This past year, I spent a lot of time doing some background work. So I built the new website, which is bcichat.com. So go check that out. So that was sort of my work through this past year. But just moving forward, just doing some more mod work, trying to do some of these unique ideas you guys are throwing out. I love Carrie's idea of doing some kind of special different Zoom calls that we could set up that we kind of log in and have a coffee chat, just like kind of we are, but smaller groups through the BCI chat community. So that would be really neat. But just seeing these ideas, and this is what we want. We want to see this stuff come authentically from our community so that we can be responsive to the needs of the people that want to be a part of it. And I'm going to pass it on to Kyoko.
All right. I remember the question. Totally, I think. Yeah, I'm super excited. I just kind of wanted to just mention coming into BC Ed Chat. This was my first year as a moderator this year and also my first year teaching. So it was a lot of new and exciting things. And I joined BC Ed Chat, started participating in the chats during my teacher ed program. And something that really struck me, like Victoria said, was every time you went on, you were greeted. And it just felt like a really warm community that really authentically wanted to see each other succeed. It wasn't competitive, and it wasn't that kind of, well, I'm toting this because I'm selling this or something like that. This was just a group of people who'd come into a profession with a lot of heart and wanted to see each other succeed. And that was really motivating. And I knew right away that I found a special place. And when I went to do my practicum, I was in Powell River for my practicum. And I remember being at a district event and looking across the room and seeing Ian there and just being like kind of starstruck. And I went up to him and I was like, "You're Ian, I follow you on Twitter." And we got like a little selfie together. And it was very exciting for me. And then kind of one of the nights before starting my first teaching job, I got the email to join the mod team. And it's just been really great experience to keep me accountable for my own professional growth, but to be involved in a community that just works to lift each other. And I think as we continue this year, that is so important, to just lift each other, to help each other when we need it, and to know that we're despite how the largest of our province and the different contexts we come from, is that we're just a team and we can be stronger working together. Yeah, and I will pass to Kenneth.
Wow, it's hard when you're one of the last people, because everything gets said before you get the opportunity to talk. But a couple years ago, 2014, actually started being a lurker on BC Ed Chat, learned so much professionally from so many great educators. And when I was invited to be a moderator by Victoria and Craig and Bryn and the team, I was super excited and took it as an opportunity to grow professionally. Loving all our conversations we have. We're always kind of, talking in the background to each other. So it's always good to hear ideas and what's happening in other places. I think for me, the big pivot this year will be a push towards that anti-racism education throughout the province for BIPOC students. I feel like if we can get a lot more educators looking first of all inwards and then outwards towards providing safe spaces and brave spaces for our BIPOC students to have an opportunity to have a voice and to share their experiences in our classroom. I think it would be a huge step towards dealing with anti-racism and the stuff that we're seeing across. I don't want it to be political, but I think we can do a lot of really awesome professional development along the terms of challenging, white supremacy culture and white privilege in our schools. So that's kind of my goal for this year. I hope that we are able to work together to create braver spaces for our students.
Can we be clear that human rights are not a political issue?
I'm just throwing that out there too. But
I know, but like, I really think that there's a place, particularly where people of color need to put that caveat on and say, yeah, like, I don't want to inconvenience you. And like, you're not, like, human rights are not supposed to be political. They should be fair across the board. So awesome. I'm just putting that in for you as like the privileged white woman, as I cut you off.
I wasn't going to say anything. No, I'm joking. It's all good. That's awesome. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I think Bryn, it's you.
Perfect. So what I'll do, I'll just explain what Victoria meant by that, by what she was saying there. So I'll mansplain the issue that she's bringing up with this. But actually, I just want to actually echo what she's saying, because actually Victoria has been awesome for the last 7 years, knowing her, working with her. She's really built my own professional learning around that, and what she's saying around this not being political. I'm pointing because that's where you are in my picture. See it on there. She's there. I don't know why. It's just the way it's set up. But this whole issue of justice, equity, rights, it's not political. It's human, right? It's what we need to do. So, but getting back to the question, which I think was something about what you thought from this, or where we're going, or what we're hoping, I have to say, this group, this team, because you look at it, when I'm looking at it on Zoom as well, it's not that this is not where I come to hear an echo chamber. This is not where I come to hear what I want to hear. This is where I come to hear different voices. We've got people who have been on the school boards, we've got people in administration at a school level, at a district level, we've got teachers at all different levels, we've got teachers that are working in different capacities of not school-based things. We've got brand new teachers, and we've got really old educators, and I just think that this is where I come to actually learn what's actually happening in British Columbia education. This is where I come to get ideas. This is where I come to sort of get bounced off thoughts and things. And if I hadn't had this in the last 7 years, I don't think I'd be where I am now. I think I would probably may have left, because just this learning piece for me is so very important. And I just am appreciative of not just this amazing team that I see in front of me that you guys can't necessarily see that I'm seeing, but also all the people that join in on BC Ed Chat from around, not just BC, but the country, the world. It's just amazing the connections I've made that have helped me continue to learn as an educator, and I think that's the most important piece that I get from this. So then I think I'm passing it back to Christine.
Awesome. And I think my one word, just be quick, is community. And what I love about this group is that we are a community. What I love about the BC Ed Chat PLN is that we are a community, that we can have that respect to be diverse and to have those tough conversations. And I think that's important for our learning as a collective. And I think what I'm going to be, pivoting is, so I'm still at the university, is how can I continue with remote learning and create community with my learners still online, and yet support our teacher candidates pending on what happens with K-12 and when they go into schools for practicum. So there's a lot of challenges out there, and I'm, I can say I'm prepared, but I think we're just learning as we're doing. And so it kind of delves into the next question. So we're going to do Q4, 5 smush together. You don't have to answer every part of the question that I posed. Pick what you choose, and certainly you can springboard off of someone else, as we've seen and modeled. So the idea is that we can't, Q4 is we can't do this all alone. We're all in this together. How do we contribute to BC Ed Chat? What's your strength? And what do you take away or value from BC Ed Chat as an educator and learner? Q5 is we're not all heroes, although we play one in real life as BC educators. What are some of your perceived limitations, and how can BC Ed Chat support you in your professional learning? So in essence, is what are your strengths? What are your limitations? And we will go, I'll start off with Ian.
Thanks. Yeah, it's always tricky. I mean, I do like that. Well, at least I try to bring a sense of humor to the discussions that are going on, especially when I get permission to kind of go off the usual track and run a model on my own and try some different types of questions. And I appreciate the support I've had that way. I love the ideas that come in. I like doing some of the brainstorming with people to come up with some of the ideas. I know Craig and I are still trying to do the educators in cars having coffee with masks. Something like that's going to be popping up in the next little while. And I know that, as I just tweeted, one of the pushes I'm trying to be more cognizant of as a white-ish male, trying to take on more of that role of human rights justice, making small changes, but it's those small changes that I know have been poked to me for as we indigenized our schools. And I use that word from, it was gifted over to me. And as we do little things like on our signs, my new sign in my office for my name is going to have my pronouns afterwards. Try and do those little pieces, and where I see the injustice, I will be speaking up more and more. I've grown up in some scary communities. They weren't scary when I lived there, but when I share where I've spent my summers in those places, people shudder sometimes, and I don't get it. Wally's a very nice place. And I will throw it over to Bryn.
Well, I feel like I just spoke, and so I'm not sure where I'm going with this. So just the ideas of where I'd like to go, is that where we're going with this question?
Strengths and limitations. Strengths and limitations.
Limitations of, well, so strengths. So I don't see my own strengths. I only see my limitations. And I think that's sort of a problem that I have, although I do know that in some cases people have suggested that I try to make sure that I build, I'm going to call them bridges. I don't think anyone's called them anything else than that. But bringing people together. Maybe bridges, but exactly. So I think bringing people together, I think I that's probably a strength that I have, and it's not it's tough to talk about it because as an educator, I don't feel like it's about me. It's about the people who I'm supporting and who's in front of me. But I think, yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that one. It's just, my strengths are difficult to talk about. I have a lot of limitations.
Bridges, that's it. You are one with people.
Okay, bridges.
Love you, love you.
Okay, so limitations, I would think, thank you, Christine, is that I am often wrong. I am so wrong so many times. I make these plans about things and I think, oh, this is how it's going to go. And it doesn't go that way in any sort of way. And so what I sort of do, my role is what I do in my education side of things. And here is that even if things are not going right direction that I think they're supposed to be going in, I try to make sure that I'm supporting the people who do see the right direction, my teachers, my staff, and make sure that they are got everything they have to help them move forward. And that's just me talking. I'm going to pass it on to my good friend and past working person, Janet.
I'm not going to repeat what Bryn said because, of course, I struggle with identifying strengths too. But I guess one of the things that I really feel a part of who I am is that I am a really strong listener, and I don't listen for just what people say, but really what they don't say, and allowing them space and time. And I think that that's one of the greatest gifts I can offer somebody, is to offer that in time and space, and know that they can exist in a presence, and know that they are real in my life. Part of that is because I'm really a huge believer in story. and that all story binds us together in our cultures, in our how we exist with each other. And so for me, that's a huge part of my world. I guess this isn't really a weakness, but it is sort of, is that I tend to just keep working and going on and on and on. And I tend not to remember to do something for myself. And sometimes my family gets the brunt end of my stick, especially, you know, my child. So I'm trying more to actually spend a little more time in sleep. So maybe more than 2 hours is a little bit more helpful. And I'm actually going to try and put a clock on and stay in bed for longer than 2 hours, because that's the only strategy I have at the top of my head right now. I'm going to flip over and send this over to, I'm going to drop it down to Victoria. Vic, you're on.
Okay, I'm on. I know this question. I don't know the answer to it, but I know the question. I think my strengths are, I'm going to go with Bryn. I think I do have a strength of bringing people together. I think that's part of why we co-founded this chat, is we wanted to bring people together because, in my opinion, they make me stronger. So you guys out there are all my strength, because I could not be where I am without the BC Chat community. That's not even a question. I would say most of my positive things in my life that have happened are because of being on Edu Twitter, which is pretty crazy. Like, I'm not joking, for those who don't know me. Like, my husband I met on Twitter, he's downstairs. So this is all, yeah, it's a thing in my life. And I really think that BC Ed Chat and that community really kind of speaks to what I try to replicate in other spaces. So when I'm in school, I really try to build community with my co-teachers that are teaching the same grade. I last year had a colleague who, Sarah Moore, BC, S Moore BC, who, you know, we worked together really, really closely through particularly the springtime, and just kind of learning and gleaning off of each other and making each other better. And I think that's something that I do well, but I also kind of individually on my own do really well at creating structures and environments in my classroom that allow students to be independent and rise to the occasion, rise to the characteristics that they are capable of in their learning. So I think those are two of my strengths. My limitations are certainly like adolescents and preteens are some of the most challenging beings in the world. They are just this unique brand of human, and I really think that one of my limitations is just learning how to connect with them. And not that I don't, like, I had great relationships with my students, but just kind of learning the ebbs and flows of their world and understanding what's important to them and really meeting them where they're at. And I think that's something, just knowing and understanding how to teach kids that age is something that I'm new to. I also think that sometimes that I overload myself, and yeah, I agree with Jan, my family gets the brunt of it, and I'm trying to be better with that already this year, and coming in a little bit more maker prepared and understanding what I have to do. So that's nice. Hopefully we can address that one this year. I'm going to flip it over to Craig.
Okay, great. Thanks, Victoria. I don't know. I mean, I the strengths is probably listening. You know, I try to be a good listener. You know, I want to know what people are thinking. And, you know, I'll just leave it at that. And then in terms of what I need to work on, you know, honestly, I think, and I go back to my one word, the acceleration part, is things are moving so fast that, you know, sometimes I find myself tripping over myself because we're just moving so fast, not taking that second just to step out for a second and kind of looking back at it. You know, and with that, you know, you're going to make mistakes and things aren't going to be thorough. And, you know, you could probably argue that's a human fallacy in any area, but that's something which I'm cognizant of. The one thing I just want to touch on in just terms of this group is how we can be responsive this coming year. And, you know, we've talked about this a little bit, and I don't know if we've made this public, but, you know, BC Ed Chat, when I first joined, we would average between, you know, 300 to 500 tweets an hour for BC Ed Chat. And this is several years ago. And what we noticed was over the last few years, it started to drop off to about 250, 300 was a good night. You know, I think we had Shelley Moore guest moderate 2 years ago, and we pushed it over 600, which we hadn't seen in a while. And over spring break, when districts started to shut down, and people were very uncertain to what spring break would look like or after, we came together and we saw the need out there to connect. And so we did our special edition BC Ed Chat. We didn't plan one, but we did one. And what we're seeing is that the community is coming together again, where we're seeing chats with 500 tweets an hour again. And I think that's the one thing to put out there to you, everybody, is let us know what we can do to help you. Like, let us know what you want to talk about, and we will find a way to structure it to be able to be there for you. So that's my part for that. With that, I'm going to throw it over to Kyoko.
Yeah, I think that for my strengths, I'm probably I really can tell when I need to ask for help, and I will ask for help, and I see that as a strength. I can also tell when someone else needs help and what they need, and I can serve that for them. I create really positive relationships with my students and provide them an island of safety from which to explore and gain independence and confidence. Stretches, I'd say multitasking on Twitter is a huge. I'm sorry, I haven't tweeted at all. I've been listening to all these wonderful people, and I'll get to that later. And experience, I think, is a stretch for me. Just, I don't always know how the mechanisms of the education system really works. I was unschooled most of my childhood, so I don't actually have a lot of experience with education, like structured formal education. So I'm really grateful to our mod team who have so much experience and can help me there. And yeah, just always learning, just loving that kind of drive, and this chat and this supportive environment within it is just so helpful for that. And I think that, has Bryn answered? Oh, Tracy. Okay, off to Tracy.
All right, I'll keep it short because I'm aware of the time. My limitation list is quite long. My strength list is not as long. It's hard, I think, to be humble. But I think building relationships quickly and making them know that the people that I build those relationships are important. They mean it, and they know that when I'm in that room and I'm listening to them, I'm listening truly to them, and building a community, because we're nothing if we're by ourselves. Limitations, wanting to do it all and be really good at the all that I'm doing. And sometimes that's not possible. I'm also, my limitations are saying no. Every now and then, I'm going to bring up a name from the blast from the past. Every now and then, I am reminded of Kat Mulsky's TED Talk on saying no. And I watch it and I remember, and I'm reminded that it's okay to say no. Saying no doesn't make me a bad person. Saying no helps me and helps my family, and then helps the relationships and the communities that I'm building. Sometimes saying yes too many times hurts everybody. So yeah, I think we're all done. So I'm going to pass it back to Chris. No, we're not all done. Yeah, we are. No,
Ken.
Chris, you're on.
Ken.
The Indigenous ways of knowing, the First Peoples principles of learning. You know, really looking at that patience and time. Learning takes patience and time. I feel like with everything that's being thrown at us in the role that I do as a VP, that sometimes that sense of urgency overtakes everything, and just really slowing down and knowing that, you know, we also always have tomorrow and the next day and the next day to get through stuff. There's some things that need urgent attention, but not everything. And so that's my stretch limitation goal for this year, is to really live in the moment, like Janet said, and you know, take some time for myself and have some patience in the growth of myself and everybody around me. So yeah, last question. Go ahead, move. We can go.
We have 3 minutes, and basically,
hey, what about me? What about me? Or Christine?
Who?
You didn't answer either, Christine.
Hey,
No,
Dallas, my bad, Dallas.
Dallas. Go Dallas, go.
Dallas, go Dallas,
What about
Dallas. Now
me?
you know how I feel,
Me.
Dallas.
You can see our relationships online.
Dallas.
It's online, behind the scenes, it's the same. It's Dallas, it's her, my bad.
So many
Hey.
forgotten children.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
It's okay. I really don't mind. I'm just going to basically echo and say that listening to every single one of you, I think we all pretty much in this group, whether or not we recognize it or not, have pretty well the same strengths and weaknesses or limitations as each other. Because I think every single one of you echoed exactly what the person before you said, and I would echo what all of you has said as well. So I think that it's overall as educators that we need to recognize that we do need to slow down and to take time for ourselves. And I think that's going to be especially important this coming year. But then also to have patience with those around, and that it is okay to say no. I'm practicing that word now. No. Okay.
All together now.
Well, what about me? No. What
No,
about me?
Christine, your turn. Go.
Can't say no.
No.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up. First of all, thank you, Ken, for bringing up that First People's Principles of Learning. I think it's a challenging one. I think it's one of the ones I struggle with personally in terms of my lived experiences and learning. And in terms of strengths and weaknesses, I think you're right. We are very similar in lots of ways and very different in lots of ways because we come from different backgrounds and our experiences in education are very diverse. And the amount of time we've been in education is diverse as well. So, first of all, thank you, everyone. We're at the 8 o'clock mark, believe it or not. But I really felt like we've addressed questions 6 and 7. I'm just going to put that out there. And we're an incredible team. I hope that you can, those out there in Twitterverse can share your ideas with us in terms of the direction you want to take our professional learning this year, particularly in the time of COVID and lots of uncertainty. But, I think that's what we want to be here as a community for you, to create some certainty, a place to go, a place to talk. And I like to say, I think Victoria's strength, is that she's very provocative, right? So it's a sort of, how can we challenge each other with some tough ideas that are out there and move forward together?
On that note, so if you tweeted things tonight, I'm trying to capture them. I know the mod team, we usually archive the chats. So you can find that all on our website under the archive page, but there's also a place where you can suggest topics. And I really want to point people to that this evening, particularly as we want to know what you want to talk about, because we legitimately said when we planned for this chat, we don't have a plan for next week. We don't have a plan for the week after. We want to be reflexive and responsive to you. So there's literally nothing on our schedule at the moment. We want to hear from what the community wants to do and wants to talk about. So please fill out that form or tweet whatever it is that you want to see as topics. And we're going to try to capture that as much as we can. Guaranteed we're going to catch it if it's in the form, not so guaranteed if it's just on Twitter, unless you tag all of us. Someone's got to write it down, right? So, okay, that's all I've got.
So anyway, thank you, everyone. Have a good night. That was awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
Great.
Thanks
Bye,
for
everyone.
moderating,
Thank you for joining
Christine.
us. Thanks, Christine. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll pull off the live stream.
All right.
What?
Take care.